Now on Chasing News. Earlier today, Tamara, we had Tropical Storm Joaquin. Now we've got Hurricane Joaquin headed our way.
It's been about 3 years since Hurricane Sandy ravaged the East Coast, causing $75 billion in damages. Now, just before the 3rd anniversary of Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Joaquin is set to hit New Jersey and New York. Hurricane Joaquin couldn't be arriving at a worse time. Just like Hurricane Sandy, tides are higher right now because we had the new moon this week. I'll be meeting with Hoboken's Mayor Don Zimmer to see how Hoboken is preparing for these possible elevated sea levels. But for right now, I have meteorologist Dan Zarrow to tell us what's going to happen with this storm.
Hey, Dan, welcome to Chasing News. You were talking earlier today that there are 32 different models, and then there's this outlier contrarian model, which has it going out to sea.
The Bill Spadian model.
Yeah, that's the European model, Bill, and usually one model out of 32 or more is not going to cause us to pause, but that's the one that caught that crazy left turn that Sandy made before anyone else. And you see that that's kicking Joaquin out to sea, and we kind of have to pause at that, even though everybody else is saying that there's going to be a landfall somewhere along the Atlantic coast between the Delmarva and the Carolinas. We can't go 100% confidence on this forecast yet.
We refer to it sometimes as Hurricane Sandy, but then it was Superstorm Sandy. What is the difference?
So hurricane is a specific name for a kind of tropical system that has wind speeds over 74 miles an hour. I think Superstorm Sandy just kind of stuck because of the alliteration there, you know, Superstorm Sandy.
I love the science behind the meteorology. I love it.
I mean, I think the thing with this storm is it's tricky. We were underestimating it 2 days ago. It was a tropical storm, and it wasn't going to hit us, and it wasn't going to pick up any speed. Now, it could be a hurricane, too.
But are we not overestimating now? Because unless Governor Christie calls a state of emergency, I'm not worried.
That's a really good point, and there's still a lot of time for this forecast to evolve and to figure out exactly where this storm is going.
Let's just say one of us here on staff is going on vacation tomorrow and flying out of Newark International Airport around 5 o'clock. What's the chance that flight could be canceled?
Thursday looks okay. The first real impacts we're going to see will be on Friday. That'll be our first round of heavy rain and wind, and it's going to be way ahead of the storm itself. Most of the big totals are going to be to the south and to the west as the storm moves through.
All right, Dan Zarrow, meteorologist from New Jersey 101.5.
Peace out, suckers.
Guys, we have team chaser coverage of this impending storm, which is now Hurricane Joaquin. We've got Tamara talking about preparedness. Ronica, you were with the governor today as he announced the state of emergency. But I want to start with Dan Zarrow from New Jersey 101.5. Dan, you are a meteorologist. You've been one for a while. You've been covering this thing. I got to believe that you're almost sick of talking about it because it's been building all week. What's happening?
This has been an absolutely incredible storm to follow just because of the uncertainty, the fact that we haven't been able to tell whether the storm is going to make a left or make a right, and whether we've done the models have done a pretty poor job of trying to determine just how strong it's going to get. It is an incredibly powerful storm right now.
It's headed up the East Coast. I saw one model, the contrarian European model, has it going out to sea, making a right turn. Then there was a model that had it coming up the East Coast, and then another that it hits us. And at this point, it's a Category 3 hurricane with 120-mile-an-hour winds.
You love the contrarian model, don't you, Bill?
I do.
Well, the forecast is actually starting to trend in an eastward direction. That's the out to sea direction. Now, let's not get too excited too quickly here, because I think the storm is still prone to basically clip the eastern seaboard as it shifts to the north here. It's going to lose a lot of its oomph. It's not going to be a Category 3 or 4 storm for very long. The big problem we're going to have to watch out for is the coastal flooding threat, because even if that storm is a couple hundred miles away from the Jersey Shore, we could still see the swell and the surge, the big waves, and the floods coming on shore.
All right, meteorologist Dan Zarrow from New Jersey 101.5. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. So, Ronica, you... Guys, as Hurricane Joaquin makes its way north in the Atlantic, we are certainly going to feel some of the effects. We've got team chaser coverage. Ronica's with Governor Christie. Hank was out chasing the storm. And Tamara is talking about preparation. But I want to start with meteorologist Dan Zarrow from New Jersey 101.5. So you've had a busy week chasing this storm. What is the latest?
Everybody's asking me, is this going to be like Sandy? It is not going to be even close to that. But still, low-lying areas, those streets that are right next to tidal areas, the ocean, the bays, even the Delaware River is going to rise a little bit from this storm. And that's not just today, it's not just tomorrow, it's all the way through about Monday of early next week.
What about blackouts, Dan? What are they saying? I mean, is there an expectation that power will be lost in some of these towns?
I expect scattered blackouts. I don't think it's going to be a widespread problem, but with wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles an hour, especially with the wet soil that we have now, those trees are going to come down. They're going to come down onto power lines, and it's just going to be probably, hopefully, a temporary situation for people.
All right, Dan Zarrow, meteorologist with New Jersey 101.5. Thanks for your insight on this. All right, I want to check in with Hank. He's out in the storm somewhere.